but all the issues with tooth decay and all of that, and they don't have the funding for medical and dental and that. So
good point.
Yeah.
Leave the candy
no
at home.
Candy.
Yeah. What are your concerns down there right now? I mean, I mentioned Rancho Milagro, and I know they were slapped with some federal regulations that they needed to update, and that basically closed their doors. I mean, do you have concerns overall for the state of affairs with orphanages down there?
Orphanages are going through a big change. They have been going through a big change for the last couple of years, and it's sort of a two-edged sword. You could look at it and say, oh, that's really bad. But on the other hand, it's actually good. The government is requiring that every orphanage is licensed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a big difference between being registered as an orphanage and being licensed. The new requirement of licensing is a requirement that has them meet all the requirements that a business, a child care center, or a school would have to meet, which means everything that has to do with safety, everything that has to do with making sure that every person that works there has been through a background check. Facilities have to be upgraded. A lot of requirements, and for some orphanages, it's cost a lot of money to get there. Some of them are still not quite there, but they're working on it, and we've been helping some as well with that process. But ultimately, it's a good process because it's going to be better and safer for the children.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, I think we look at it from the outside and go, wow, that's really a bummer. We've been working with this orphanage, but they got to close their doors because the government stepped in. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we'd have those standards here.
Exactly.
There wouldn't be an orphanage operating the way that a lot of places do. So that's a good point, that it's probably a good thing, right?
I think we have, of our 10 orphanages, maybe a little bit more than half have gotten their license already, and that has to be kept up every couple of years. And the others are well on their way to doing that as well.
I think another good point to make within that is that we as Americans, when we look at Mexico, we just think that it's, I don't know, cowboy country. I don't know how you describe it. Anything goes. And I think it's nice to hear, it's refreshing to hear that the government is stepping in on certain levels to make sure or ensure that there's some regulations for these kids in the environment that they live in. And I think that that's a positive message for the country, because so many people assume that you can do whatever you want down there. It's really not the case, right?
Right. That's definitely not the case. And I think that's one of the reasons a lot of visitors get in trouble, is because they assume that.
Yeah, they have laws down there.
Exactly.
Hey, if you're listening, there's laws down there. Don't go looking for drugs, please.
Yeah, but I think, overall for us, I mean, the important thing is the work that we're doing is to continue our fundraising. We're really fortunate that most of the people, or anybody that participates with Corazón de Vida, they can visit the orphanages that we support, and they can see firsthand exactly what we're doing, how we're doing. They can meet our students. There's no black box or anything involved in the work that we do. So continuing to fundraise to expand our programs into the orphanages. Things that we want to do, that we've been wanting to do, is to have better psychological support for the kids at the orphan. All of this is going to help them as they grow older and they get ready for life in general.
Sure.
Afterwards, having better funding for medical and dental, more timely support for kids in those areas. And then obviously providing the monthly funding to the orphanages. So for us, the way we do that is we do a few fundraisers a year in Orange County and San Diego, but we also have these great chapters that we've created, and these are all volunteer chapters in different areas to expand our reach into those areas. So we have a pretty strong chapter in San Diego, the Corazón de Vida chapter San Diego, and they've been around for about 4 years, and the fundraising that they've been able to do through their network is pretty significant. We've just started a Los Angeles chapter and a Northern California chapter, and those are just getting started. But the main idea of a chapter is to create community around support for the kids in Baja in a particular area, do a few fundraisers, maybe do some trips, and then expand the reach for Corazón de Vida. The more people can hear about it, the more people that can say, yes, we want to participate, we want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
It's just the way that we do this. We have our monthly bus trips. Those are always listed on our website. We're probably most known for that in the Orange County, San Diego area. But every bus trip is once a month. We pick up in LA, Orange County, San Diego, so anybody can participate. We do sell out really, really fast. So if you're, listening and planning to participate, pick a month and go ahead and register, because we do. I think we've been selling out a couple of months ahead of time.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Lots of interest.
Yes, it is. It is definitely. And, becoming a monthly sponsor is always the best way to support for us. $20, $50, $100, whatever you can do, that really is what helps us keep the monthly commitment to the orphanages, because we know is money that's going to come in on a monthly basis. We can then extend that commitment to the orphanages. And then another great way is exactly the way that Baja United is participating, and that's through our cause-related marketing agreement. We have a lot of really great people that are in business that have a heart for helping, for philanthropy, and this is a great way to do that, is to have this agreement with Corazón de Vida where a percentage of your product or service can go to support the kids. And we have a couple of businesses that have taken us up on that. It's a fairly new program for us, but it's a great way to, again, expand the base of support for the children.
Yeah, sure. So 2018, what's your biggest initiative this year that you guys are working on as an organization?
We have a huge project on the horizon, and that is the building of a baby dorm, and at one of our orphanages. This is, another area where we fundraise separately as for projects. And, in the past few years, we've rebuilt a couple of dorms, and we've, done a lot of big projects like that. But this is probably the biggest one right now, because it's a complete build from the ground up, including purchasing the land. We already have a partial on the land. We need about another $28,000-$30,000 to finish up the land purchase. And as soon as we do that, we will do a campaign fundraiser for the baby dorm, which we were thinking was probably going to be at around $100,000 between the building and the equipment that they're going to need. But the great thing about this is one of those things that the orphanage that needs this baby dorm is one of the few orphanages that can take babies and infants, because it's a lot of work to take babies and infants. And currently they have them in a second-story building that's not very safe. And so the government has already told them, as part of this whole initiative, that if they're not able to relocate the babies, they will not be receiving any more babies in the future.
Wow.
And we want to make sure that they can continue to support babies and toddlers. So that's
what a
our
tough
project.
thing to hear, and not want to give everything in your pocket, right?
Exactly.
Where the baby's going to go. No, seriously, that's just well, it's a wonderful project. I've heard a little bit about it throughout the year, and I just think that you guys have such a great organization. I wish people could, see where you work out of. It's very simple. People always talk about the overhead of charity organizations, and that is not you guys. You've got a humble place here. You guys are working tons and tons of hours to make this happen. And I think that it couldn't be any easier for people to help either through the programs that you have, whether it's a business or an individual, to donate, whether time or money. It just seems like you've got it all covered. So, it's our pleasure to be working with you. And we're kind of at our 45-minute mark. I told you it'd go by fast. But, I just hope that this message will resonate with our listeners and people have a better understanding about what you're doing here. And, as I mentioned, I ran into George in the Valle down there. You guys are working the program. You're involved. You're out there. And I think that that's really important. You're not just sitting in an office talking about the good deeds. You're doing them. So where can people find you? Maybe a website, social media? What's the best place?
Yes, so we are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and it's all Corazón de Vida. And our website, corazondevida.org.
Okay, .org. Okay, great. So if you're listening, pop on the website, see where you can help if this interests you, or look at one of your affiliate companies. I know for us, if you buy some wine, we give a percentage of that back, and we'd love to sell you a whole bunch of wine. I'm going to say this on air because I've been talking about it amongst myself and Eric and a couple others this last month or so, is we set a goal to give back when we started this company. And people are so inclined to pick a number of what that looks like. And even in our relationship with you, you asked for, what we need to commit to a number. And in the last month, I thought, we can do better than a number. We want to be known as the company that's giving the most back to Baja and to the orphanages down there through your work. So it's my personal goal as a business leader, and that's going to be my new message. When people ask, well, how much are you giving? And it's going to be as much as I can, because we want to be known with working with you guys as giving the most back to the orphanages down there. And I don't even know what that looks like, but I think it's probably a good number, and we want to strive to hit that. We know that there's a lot of people in Southern California that have a passion for this, and we hope that we can tap into those so that as a group we can become known as that, or Corazon can be known as that. So thank you for being on the show today. I hit you guys up last minute and you said yes, so thank you for that. And we look forward to seeing you and your growth, Hilda.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as I did. What a fascinating story about starting a restaurant. Well, not necessarily starting, but taking over a restaurant as a family business and making it your own with your brothers and sisters and just bringing everybody together. I got to say, every time I've walked into that restaurant, it's been 3 times now, the entire family's there working, and they're happy. The employees are happy. The cooks are happy. It just seems like the right place to work, and they've got something really special. So if you're in LA, please stop by their restaurant and check it out. It's a family that works together, and I just love how Bricia has new ideas, and she's continuing to strive to do more, and just the support that she gives for her culture. Not only coming from Oaxaca and Hispanics, but also for women in general, and her willingness to put herself out there for others to see, to follow, to be a part of. And again, I just encourage you to go by the restaurant, follow her along her social media handles. She presented them in the show, and just think about what you're capable of doing. By the way, man, her brother's michelada mix is incredible. You can get that stuff online, especially if you go to the restaurant website. You can buy some michelada mix. I pick some up every couple months. So with that, just to wrap it up, don't forget to, if you enjoyed the show, share it with your friends and family and let them know that you're enjoying what we're talking about here and some of our guests. I think some action items for the week for you to think about is, I've talked about David Meltzer being my life coach now, and he always talks about how we have more than enough. And I think that's a great exercise for everybody to think about how they might have more than enough in their life and be grateful for that. And if you can say that a few times a day to yourself, you'll realize how much you actually do have and how great your life is. Of course, the name of the show is Just Say Yes, so continue to say yes to opportunities. I'd love to hear from you. If something came up this week or in the last couple weeks that you've said yes to, please reach out to me and share that with me. It would just encourage me that it's the right message and that you've got something going on. Heck, I just want to hear about stuff that's cool. And then finally, my quote, again, since I've been 18 or younger, was what you believe is what you'll achieve. So with that in mind, go off to the week. Hope you enjoyed the show. Again, share it. The answer is yes on iTunes.